In this episode, we're going to dive into the areas of regulation and compliance, intellectual property, and business ethics. It's an episode that will hopefully convey that there are lots of things you'll need to be thinking about when you start your business, and even more when you begin to grow. Compliance is the word given to the work needed to demonstrate that you and your company comply with the rules and regulations. Compliance, many entrepreneurs will tell you, is the biggest pain in their business life, as it can take loads of time to deal with, and most entrepreneurs simply want to focus on building their empire. Regulations are defined as rules, typically imposed by government or another regulator, that seek to modify or determine the behaviour of businesses. Let's look at compliance. Compliance is the word given to the work needed to demonstrate that you and your company comply with the rules and regulations. Compliance, many entrepreneurs will tell you, is the biggest pain in their business life, as it can take loads of time to deal with, and most entrepreneurs simply want to focus on building their empire. Regulations are defined as rules, typically imposed by government or another regulator, that seek to modify or determine the behaviour of businesses. Let's look at compliance in Elijah's car washing business, and let's start with the wax. Elijah uses car wax that contains a chemical called 1,1,1-trichloroethane. It's a dangerous and highly flammable chemical, which could catch fire if the bottle reaches a certain temperature. Quite sensibly, there's a regulation in the UK, Europe, and the United States which says that Elijah, when he's not using the wax, needs to store the flammable wax in a locked and fireproof box at all times. It's got to be out of the reach of any children and away from any naked flames. And that's the regulation. And in order to be compliant with the regulation, not only does Elijah need to store his wax in the way the regulations state, but he also needs to fill in an online form twice a year saying, firstly, that he's the owner of the wax, and secondly, that he's compliant insofar as he stores the wax as the regulations state. He has to be compliant in a whole bunch of areas. The forms he fills in when he pays his friend, the contracts he needs to send to his 10 Wash customers as part of his loyalty scheme, they both need to comply with the law. Compliance around the shampoo he sells in terms of environmental friendliness and whether or not it will stain the public highways. Compliance is important, but the burden of compliance can be different in different businesses. In Jameson's pet food business, there are countless regulations, including those around the ingredients that can be put in the food that's safe for his dogs, how environmentally friendly his packaging needs to be, and the cancellation terms he includes for his subscription business. Human food businesses are even worse, and for Freddie and Finley's pizza businesses, there are over 45 regulations alone from a single UK government agency called the Food Standards Agency. Examples relate to the cleanliness of their production facilities, the disclosure of the ingredients that they use in their pizzas, such as gluten, and even the maintenance of a health and safety list which records all the accidents that happened in the workplace. All of these were required for compliance. If their businesses are not compliant, they won't be allowed to operate them for much longer. As your business develops, there'll be an increasing need to consider how you maintain compliance with a wide range of regulations. But as an owner, you'll simply need to accept that compliance will be one of those necessary tasks that you'll have to keep dealing with.
As a food business, we have lots of regulation to ensure that the bakery is very clean, and also our shops are following good food safety practices. We spend lots of time filling out lots of forms, lots of time training our teams in how to operate, how to be safe. At the end of the day, it's there for the customer's safety, but also that makes the business safer. So yes, there's lots of regulation, yes, there's lots of form filling, but it's very important for everybody.
We have to operate in accordance to the advertising standard of the country that we're working in, and we also have to consider certain sustainability standards. For example, now there is legislation around how you can talk about sustainability and what claims you can make about sustainable products.
So we will need to comply with GDPR, as well as there'll be a few licenses that we need to obtain.
Because we're a food business, there are lots of things that we need to consider. So, for example, our factory has to have the right regulations, our ingredients needs to have really good specifications, and we have to be all over it in terms of health and safety.
General company law in the UK, health and safety regulation and GDPR.
A very common area of regulation, and one that impacts almost all B2C businesses, is what's known as consumer law. Consumer law involves protecting the consumer or the individual customer against unfair and dishonest selling practices or poor quality products. Consumer law covers a bunch of areas, including the quality of the product or service, rules around returns, and rules around delivery. It also covers how businesses advertise their products, with the rules stating that all advertising should be accurate, legal, decent, truthful, honest, and socially responsible. As young entrepreneurs, you certainly don't need to know all the rules and regulations on day one. No one knows all those. But you should be aware that business rules exist, compliance is important, and compliance will become a part of your entrepreneurial journey. But until then, just be aware of compliance. And if you're unsure at any stage as to what your responsibilities are under consumer law or any other set of regulations, just check online and maybe even find the answer on the YEA platform.
Intellectual property, or IP as it's sometimes shortened to, refers to brands, ideas, logos or designs that have been created by you or someone within your business. If you come up with an amazing brand name for your business, a great design for your newest product, or an incredible strapline, and then someone copies these straight from you without your consent, there's every chance that they've stolen your intellectual property. And in some circumstances, when the business is bigger, you may even need to go to court to stop them using it. Copyright, which some of you may have heard of, is established as soon as anything is written. But brands, straplines and logos may require further protection. Elijah never got round to protecting his brand, Elijah's Car Wash, and he now finds that there's another 3 businesses, all called Elijah's Car Wash, which are advertising on Google with exactly the same brand and exactly the same strapline as he does. It's really starting to annoy Elijah, and he now wishes he would have spoken to someone sooner who was an expert in the field of intellectual property. Not all names and brands can be trademarked or protected, and for reasons we won't go into now, the name Elijah's Car Wash is not protectable anyway. But what he could have done is trademarked or protected the logo, and now others seem to be copying it, and it's driving him mad. Once your business is established and is starting to grow, it's not a bad idea to consider some further research on the logos and trademarks that you're using or proposing to use, and explore the routes of protecting your very own intellectual property, or IP, at some stage in your business journey.
Well, intellectual property for Lola's might be our recipes, how we make our cakes, or certainly the way we make our cakes, the steps that we take that makes our cakes extra special. And then we've been building up and spending lots of time on marketing to make sure that our brand is very special and very dear to us. So those are some of the IP pieces around the business that we look after. Your intellectual property is incredibly important to protect, because if you lose that, if you lose your recipe secret, someone else might come up with the same cake as you. So if you've got an idea, or if you've got a way of doing something, keep it very close to your chest, share it with only those people you trust, because you never know who might be out there to come and do something very similar.
I would say our main IP in our business is our brand, and we do everything to protect our brand.
The IP within Bine will be the software that we build and the code we build. and that is the most valuable asset within the business.
We have two main sorts of IP. We have the brand, which is Lucy's Dressings, and then we have our recipes.
In the final part of this episode, we're going to touch upon business ethics. And business ethics are all about the moral behaviour of your business and the individuals within it. Some things might be technically legal within a business and fall within the regulation, but you should always ask yourself, are they ethical? Most businesses and most entrepreneurs are ethical, and that means they're driven by the desire to do the right thing, with profit not being the only thing that matters. But some businesses, on the other hand, are not that ethical, and they seek to navigate a path that may even be touching the outer limits of what they're allowed to do legally. Our view at the Young Entrepreneurs Academy is that grossly unethical behaviours should be avoided at all cost, and our entire team of sporters all come from ethical businesses. And on that basis, you should be well aware that we will be insisting on a high level of ethics in any business that we deal with. So take heed for what you submit into our final business plan competition. Let's take a quick look at 2 examples of potentially unethical behaviour and reflect on how unethical it is and whether you would let these things go through in your own business. And by the way, there's no right answer. Scenario 1 involves Holiday Heavens, a holiday company in Skegness run by a lovely chap called Larry. Larry ran an advertising campaign which offered free access to the water park, which is right next to the main hotel building in the middle of Skegness. Larry's promotion attracted loads of extra families to his hotel, and hotel bookings went through the roof. But when the excited families got to the hotel, they discovered that all wasn't quite what they expected. Free entry to the water park, whilst technically correct, isn't quite what they were expecting, as whilst they do get the free entry to the water park as per the promotion, it's only access to the lazy river, which frankly is the most boring ride, and the ride that most thrill-seeking guests were planning to avoid. To access the further rides costs money. It's not free access, and Jimmy's mum and Jimmy's dad are not happy with Larry. Had Jimmy's family been exposed to unethical business practice? They'd booked their holiday, booked by Larry's campaign, saying there was free entry to the water park. But the reality is that it's all a bit of a con. Do you think that the ethics of Larry's marketing promotion were acceptable? The YEA think not, but ethics are subjective, and Larry thinks this is entirely acceptable. It's the way he runs his business. Larry's not interested in hearing from anyone who says otherwise. His motto's quite simple. Business is business. Scenario 2 focuses on a football club, which is obviously a business. And the club is looking for a new shirt sponsor, but it seems to be ignoring the fact that they've got a lot of fans who are under the age of 18. Club chairman, Ephraim Itogo, doesn't care who the actual sponsors are, what their shirts look like, or what the fans think. Ephraim is only focused on the sponsor who will pay their most money. Ephraim's faced with 2 choices. Firstly, getting £10,000 of sponsorship from Insure & Go, a local business that sells healthcare insurance in the local area. Or secondly, getting £15,000 of sponsorship from RG's Aces, an online gambling company that's keen to promote themselves in the community. RG's Aces is willing to pay a lot more money for the sponsorship than Insure & Go, but their sponsorship is less ethical. Getting local kids into gambling doesn't sound particularly ethical, but will Ephraim move down that unethical route just because the money is more? Ephraim is after the money. He puts his ethics to one side and goes for the deal with a gambling company, so he's got more money in his business. It's not illegal, but it's slightly unethical. Many entrepreneurs would have done the same, but at least it's an example to show you that there are ethical dilemmas in a wide range of business decisions, some that you'll be facing in the not too distant future.
we're super focused on ethics, and we make sure that we're ethical in everything we do, but more importantly, we make sure that our clients are ethical in what they do as well, otherwise we wouldn't be working with them.
We are B Corp, which we're really proud of, so we make sure that we care about the planet, the people and profit. And I think that's really, really important because right now there's a lot of greenwashing going on in the industry, but we genuinely care about what we do and the cyclability of the product.
We are regulated by the Solicitors Regulation Authority, and people come to us because they know that we will act with integrity, honesty and be truthful. And so it is absolutely important that we act ethically at all times.
I think ethically, as a business entrepreneur that you might be setting up your own business, you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I doing a good thing? Am I selling a good product or service? Is it doing a good thing? And is it helping people? Also, how are you paying your suppliers? Are you paying your suppliers on time? Are you paying them a fair price? I think that's really important. I think it's really important for the entrepreneur because at the end of the day, you're in charge. Those decisions that are being made around the company, they all come back to you. So that's really important that you have a strong sense of ethics in your business, and you need to decide yourself what kind of business you want for you, for your family and your friends for the future. In Lotus, we've taken sustainability very, very seriously here. There's so much more we need to do, and I'm well aware of that, but we are actively pursuing it. We have a head of sustainability. It's a role, someone performs that role here, looking at all the areas of the business and where we can improve. So I would really encourage you, even if you're very small, have a very small business, maybe you're on your own, think about the ethics, because I think as the world moves forward in the years ahead, where things are from and how things are sourced and how things are made is really important.
So that's it. Episode 19 finished, with episode 20 coming next. You have one more episode to watch and a brief test to complete before you get the FuseSchool School of Management certificate. Episode 20 is amongst our favourites, as it includes some great pearls of wisdom from our resident entrepreneurs